Well, hey, you guys, if you're a regular around here, then you know that I talk a lot about budgeting when it comes to building wealth, because it's one of those essential steps that you really have to take to start that wealth building journey. But if you're newer to my channel, then you may need a little bit of a hand holding while you build your first budget. Because listen, budgeting, it can be really simple, but it's also nice to have that step-by-step support when you are developing a new habit for the first time. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to share how to create your first budget in 5 simple steps. And if you have been budgeting, still stick around, because I think it's so important to rehear some of this, because you could have lost 1 or 2 steps in the process. And also make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any content coming in the future. All right, first, I want to be very transparent with you. There was a brief time that I did not like budgeting. Yeah, budgeting was probably the hardest part of this whole financial journey, if you will, for me to get on board with and actually see and enjoy it, because I'm such a spender, I'm such a free spirit, and it always felt like this, like lots of details. It felt like, oh my gosh, you can't have any fun. You can't go shopping. You have to say no to everything. The word budget almost became a cuss word. And what I realized, though, when I was actually on a trip with Winston, and he was like, don't worry about the budget. I can take care of everything on this trip. You just enjoy. That, you would have thought, would have given me such freedom. But at that point, we had been budgeting pretty consistently for a few years. And the one time that I was told, don't worry about it, you can just fly and be free, I actually found that it wasn't free. It was actually more stressful not to have a budget. So now I am a firm believer. I love a budget, because a budget really is permission to spend. And when it comes to EveryDollar, which is our budgeting app, it makes it even easier. So with EveryDollar, it is so nice and convenient, because your budget is right there on an app on your phone. And when you make transactions, you put them in, or they're plugged into your bank account and they drop in there, so you can actually see in real time what you have left, the amount of money you have left to spend in each category. And it helps you plan, and it really does give you this roadmap to your money on a daily basis, which is so key. All right, so when you get started budgeting for the first time, one of your first steps that you're going to take is to list your income. That is step 1. So I want you to think through any streams of income that are coming into your household. And if you are married, you and your spouse together are going to be doing this. So if you're both working, both incomes combined together go at the top of the budget. If you have a part-time side hustle, you're going to put that in. If you have a part-time just job, or maybe you work overtime, put that in. If you have alimony coming in or child support, put that in. Like any amount of money, again, that you have coming in, list that as income, and you're going to add everything up and know here is the number you're working towards. Then step 2 is you're going to list all of your expenses. You're going to start with your 4 walls, which is going to be food, transportation, shelter, and utilities. And so you're going to be able to mark down, these are the most important things that you have to do first. And then under that are going to be really essential things like insurance or childcare. You're going to be listing out other things that you spend money on throughout the month. And so you can look, and that could be subscriptions, that could be clothes, whatever it is, you're going to put as a category. Now, a couple of categories that you don't want to forget, first and foremost, is giving. Giving needs to be in your budget, because this is part of your money that really has to deal with your heart and your character. And so building that habit early, regardless of where you are financially, is so crucial. And also, do not forget the miscellaneous category, because there are going to be things that happen throughout the month that you forgot to budget for, and that's okay. But it's just going to drop in that miscellaneous category. It's one of my favorite categories. Stuff comes up and I'm like, oh, just drop it there, drop it there. All right, number 3 is you're going to subtract your expenses from your income. So again, your income is going to be at the top, minus all of those categories that we just talked about added together should equal 0. That means every dollar coming in is assigned to a category. So if you have money left over, which is a great problem to have, then take that. Even if it's, $38, $200, whatever it is at the top, if you have not allotted for that amount of money, then drop it in a category. You can even make your miscellaneous category bigger. It doesn't matter, but give it a name. Now, if you're in the red and you're spending more on the expenses than you have coming in, then you have to go and adjust. And you have to say, okay, maybe we try to, shave off $100 of groceries this month. And maybe we cancel these 2 subscriptions that we're not using, right? You go through all the categories and try to lower them so that you get that zero-based budget. Now, when it comes to all of this together, it is going to take maybe 1, 2, even 3 months to really get it right. There's going to be tweaking you're going to do throughout the month, and that's okay. But after 90 days, this is going to get easier. And what you're going to see as well is that each month is going to be different. So you're going to have a different budget every single month, because one month there may be a holiday that you put in a line item for that, and maybe summer and the kids have camp and you have to put a line item for that. So every month is going to look different. All right, before I share steps 4 and 5, I want to tell you about one of our amazing sponsors, Christian Healthcare Ministries. When you go against what society thinks is, quote, normal, like avoiding debt, for example, it might seem weird at first, and that is totally okay, because we want you to do things weird if that means you're doing things intentionally, including how you spend your healthcare dollars. And one way to be intentional is with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM isn't health insurance. They're a health cost-sharing ministry that's helped hundreds of thousands of families like yours take care of healthcare costs without sacrificing their freedom. Programs start as low as $98 a month. Find out more and join at chministries.org/budget. That's chministries.org/budget. All right, number 4, when it comes to your budgets, is to track your transactions all month long. I mentioned this, that EveryDollar is such a great app because you either can put your transactions in manually, or if you have EveryDollar Premium, it's going to connect to your bank, so they will drop in automatically, and then you go and track them. And again, it is so easy. It's literally a drag and drop with your finger if you're doing it on your phone or even on a laptop. And what's great about this is in real time, you're able to keep up with these categories of what's going on. And Winston and I, we use this. Like, we will look if it's the 29th of the month. We're like, okay, we have a little bit more out to eat. So maybe we can go and, grab some food for dinner one night instead of cooking at home. Or, golly, the grocery budget, we're getting close. Okay, so what can we do? Some cheap meals. Let's do spaghetti one meal. And, you really can plan around your life and what money you have left in the budget. And this helps you stay on track as well, because a budget may sound good in theory, but when you actually practically do it, you have to stick to the budget. And so in order to do that, you have to know what is in each category. And so that's one reason tracking these transactions and keeping up with it is so helpful. And it may seem like a lot of work at first, but honestly, when you get in the rhythm of it, you can do it in just like under 15 seconds. Like, it really can be very, very fast to track those transactions, but it keeps you in control, which is what I love. All right, and number 5 is to make a budget for next month. So we just kind of mentioned this earlier, but I do want to stress how different every single month is. And especially if you are on commission, like I am, every month from your income standpoint is going to be different. And so you're going to have to adjust according to that. And so it's really key to do your budget before the month begins. So before the first of the next month, make sure you already have things planned out. And if you're using EveryDollar, it's great because it will duplicate your budget from last month. So you at least have a starting point. You're not having to start from scratch, but then go in and change, right? So this month, for instance, let's just be honest, I'm not making as much as I did last month. So I'm lowering my income. Winston has his, so we put his in. So our giving, because we give 10% of our income, will change according to what we make every month. Our savings is going to look different depending on what we're doing in life. And then from there, we're able to say, okay, what is left that we can put in these categories? And so again, looking at it every single month is key. And while again, it may seem overwhelming, it's really not. Once you get in the rhythm of this, doing the new budget, it may take you 10 minutes. Like, it really doesn't have to be this elongated thing, but it may be at first. If this is your first budget, you're going to have more time spent on this as you get used to it. But these are things that really give you the control that you can have, because there's a lot of things in our life right now, you guys, we can't control. We can't control interest rates. We can't control the inflation. We can't control grocery prices, but we can control what we do with our income. And that's why I love a budget, is because it puts you in the driver's seat of your own life. So again, if you have not downloaded EveryDollar, click the link below, because this is going to be the tool that's going to help you get in control of your money. Again, sign up for this, you guys. Put it on your phone. Create an account, because this is one of the keys of unlocking your wealth building journey. And after you create your budget, make sure to watch my episode on how to stop going over budget on groceries, because groceries are essential and they are expensive. All right, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So the idea of being undercover rich is kind of trending right now. You'll hear quiet luxury or stealth wealth or old money aesthetic. Like all of that is just like what the internet is loving these days, because it's this idea of people that are like really financially secure and wealthy don't feel the need to flash, all their lifestyle with labels and all this stuff for the world to see. So I saw an article on this topic recently, and I thought some of their points actually matched the Ramsey baby steps. So today I'm going to share and react to this list, plus a few insights of my own as we talk about this kind of concept, if you will, of being wealthy, but not always flashing it. Now, before we get started, make sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. All right, the first sign that someone is a quiet millionaire is that they're not living paycheck to paycheck. So again, you may not see it. It may not be out in the open, but for sure, when you become wealthy, you're not dependent upon that next paycheck to get by. So the margin is great, and you can get there by living below your means, right? Having a budget and actually learning to get out of that cycle. But you can definitely tell someone is like doing well if they're not needing that next paycheck to get by. Number 2 is that they're not anxious about upcoming expenses. And I think what that means, which makes sense, is that they have an emergency fund, they have cash available, and if upcoming things are coming, expenses maybe they know or don't know, they have the ability to cover them. So again, when you are paycheck to paycheck and don't have savings, it's like any little thing that comes up could feel like this crisis, right? It takes you completely out of orbit. But these stealth millionaires, if you will, they're not worried about all that stuff because they probably have planned. They have put money set aside, which is great. So again, having an emergency fund for upcoming expenses for the unexpected is key, but then also planning for upcoming expenses ahead of time, being proactive. So whether that is big expenses like replacing a car or a vacation, something big that you're planning ahead, and that's where the budget comes in for you to be proactive, which is wonderful. All right, the third way you can tell is that they invest their money wisely. And I thought this was really great. When you talk to a lot of people who are wealthy over time, very few of them just kind of like randomly made one decision and it just, made millions, right? It is this consistent lifestyle of saying, hey, how do I best use my money to make money? Because that's really one of the secrets I say, is when your money's making money, like that is a great part. That's where investing does come in. And so they're investing their money wisely. They're not flippant about it. They're probably actually very wise and slow to make decisions on what they're investing in. And when you get to this point of having no debt and a fully funded emergency fund, this is when you can start doing this. And you can invest 15% of your income into retirement. And we have found through our own surveys that majority of millionaires, really gain that millionaire status by paying off their house, but also in traditional investments like their 401k at work. So consistently investing will allow you to actually build a lot of wealth. And speaking of wise investments, investing into your online protection is crucial. And this is why I love Delete Me. 1/3 of the US population's background info is now public. So for 115 million of us, data breaches mean that our info is just out there for anyone to find. And this is stuff like our names and addresses and phone numbers and more. So that is why I love and use Delete Me, because they find and remove your information from hundreds of data broker websites that buy, sell, and trade your personal data. So take control of your online privacy with Delete Me. Individual Delete Me plans start as low as $9 a month. So sign up today at joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, or just click the link in the description. All right, number 4 is that they value experiences over material things. So the fact that this was on a list I just loved it, honestly. It made me so happy because we do talk about the idea that stuff is okay, right? So we are not against stuff. So material possessions, that does not equal evil things, right? So getting a great purse or car, like whatever the thing is that you want, you save up and you pay for it, that is great. But you have to understand that why you are doing it, your motivation behind buying those things is what's really key. And the hard thing is that we are a culture that is obsessed about the material possessions. And so it's like you almost kind of put your hope in this thing that's going to long-term make you happy, or you believe like it's going to make me feel a certain way or be a certain thing. And what you realize is when you actually start buying those things, again, they're not bad, but your motivation of doing it ends up being really negative, right? The result of all those things is not what you expected. And so you have to really buy those things with an open hand to say, yeah, if I have it, great. If not, no big deal. You're not putting so much stock into material things. So I do want to say that it's okay to have nice stuff. Just don't let your nice stuff have you. And it can have you when you go into debt for it. And when your identity, your hope, your happiness, your joy is wrapped up in a thing, because studies have shown time and time again that does not bring long-term happiness. Stuff, it doesn't. Now, experiences, on the other hand, actually do bring a level of joy. When you experience things with people you love, there is something about the richness of life and the joy of life that is very real, and that's been proven. So I love that that's on the list. Experience over material things. Number 5 is that they're generous. And we see this a lot. And again, this may be quiet. It may not be out in the open, but there are a lot of people who have, earned and worked for and created a lot of wealth. And what they do with it is absolutely incredible. And so there is something about living with that open hand that is key. And we see that happens. Not every wealthy person does this, right? I'm not saying that. But I do think those that live with a level of peace in their life where money is not an idol, there's something about that open-handedness. And so where you are in your personal finance journey, regardless if you are living paycheck to paycheck or maybe you are, on the wealthy end of it, be giving. Let that be a rhythm in your life, because that will continue to magnify who you are as you start to build wealth. All right, number 6 is that they're not driven by status symbols. So we talked about, earlier how the stuff is not bad, but this is key for wealthy people when they actually realize, okay, I am not going to be driven and my motivation is not so I can go and look impressive. Because there is something about this idea that the more stuff people have or the more labels, the more they're trying to impress you. And I feel like you can kind of get a feeling of people like that. There is a level that you're like, okay, but you're an okay person. Who you are, genuinely, just who you are is enough. You're good. And so even that quote, which I love, confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud. And there are some loud people that, again, I think we've all experienced that you're like, you're okay. But there's something about not needing to continue to impress, which is a really beautiful quality. And what we have found, again, with wealthy people is that they aren't driven by status. And I think cars is one of these places that a lot of people think oh my gosh, if I just get this car, people are going to see me a certain way and they want to be viewed in that light. So according to the National Study of Millionaires, the 2 most common brands of cars that millionaires drive, you ready for this? Honda and Toyota. Yep, great cars. Not the most flashiest or most impressive, but they're good because, again, millionaires, they're not worried about it. They are not worried about it. Okay, number 7 is that they value quality over quantity. And this is, I definitely am, I could get better at this because I do like quantity. I like options in my stuff. But they do appreciate quality items. They actually see something and will have the patience to wait and buy the actual thing that's going to last a long time versus something that's cheap just to kind of scratch that itch. Now, if you are living below your means and you're investing in things that will last, be doing that because that's going to help you not be a victim of constant consumerism. If you continue just to run and consume, it is hard to build wealth when you do that because you're spending a lot of money versus saying, hey, I'm going to be looking at the quality over the quantity, and that's helpful. But again, I'm saying this to myself too, people. Trust me. And number 8 is that they have a long-term financial plan. For a lot of people that build wealth, it doesn't just happen. They don't just wake up and they're like, oh, look at all this money that I have. No, they have a plan. They look and they see, okay, in the future, in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, what am I doing with my money, right? I'm actually going to be proactive and choose what my money is going to do versus just living in the moment, right? So there's something about this planning that can feel boring. It can feel kind of constrained or like, oh, I have to stay in this plan. And it's not as exciting and fun. But over time, it's amazing understanding the amount of peace that comes with actually being proactive in this area of your life. Because for so many people, they don't. They just have a feeling and an emotion and they act on it and they move on. And so much money is wasted during those moments. So making sure you have your priorities in order, you know what you're doing. And honestly, there are so many plans out there, but one of my favorites is the baby steps. And if you've not gone through Financial Peace University, this is a great course to go through. It's 9 lessons, but it talks through the 7 steps of how to get get in control of your money, how to get out of debt, how to build wealth, and do everything that we're talking about. Because again, it's this idea that you're working a system, you're working a plan, you're not just going off of this emotion in the moment. And so if you want to check out FPU, I will leave a link down below. But it is a great course to dive into to get a lot of tips and this method of building wealth. Now, if you want specific tips for how to budget to build wealth, make sure to catch my episode, 4 Ways You're Ruining Your Budget Without Realizing It. You can click here, or if you're listening on podcast, I will leave a link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Everyone's money situation looks different, but there's one universal question that people ask all the time, regardless of their financial background. How do I stop overspending? Well, today I'm going to share 16 quick ways to stop throwing your money away. Now, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Okay, listen, spending money, first and foremost, it is not bad. I feel like some people hear spending money and they're like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. Now, if you don't have the money to spend, yeah, not so great. But spending money in general is fine. Like, we have to spend money to survive. And if you have surplus, if you have margin, you can spend on things that you want. But it's this problem of spending when we don't need to, right? And it is just like gathering all these wants. We don't want that to be a practice in our life. And you want to make sure that you have the money to actually spend. Now, if you have a tip beyond what we talk about today, make sure to leave it in the comments. All right, we're going to go quick here. You ready? Number 1. Tips for not overspending. Identify your spending tendency. So it's always good to know who you are when it comes to spending. So are you a natural spender? If so, maybe a little caution around spending. Are you a saver? Do you prioritize buying quality things or quantity? Do you like a bunch of things, right? So just knowing how you actually spend and why you spend is really helpful, especially for tip number 2. You want to create a budget. So this is going to help you not overspend. So you do a monthly budget, have your income at the top, list out all of your expenses, including giving and saving, put dollar amounts next to everything. And the goal is your income minus all of those expenses and giving and saving should equal 0. Now, if you need help, the EveryDollar app is a fantastic budgeting app. Make sure to check it out. But in general, if you are spending within what you have planned for, you're not going to overspend. It's going to be great. Number 3 is to set money goals. So if you have debt, make it a goal to pay off all of your debt. If you need to replace your car, save up and pay cash for that. Cash flow your next vacation. So just know that, yeah, this may take some slowing down your actual purchasing, but that's going to help you not overspend. Number 4 is track your spending. So you can do this in the EveryDollar app that I mentioned, or other ways if you want, but just knowing what you're spending and keeping up with it day to day is going to help you not only just stay within the budget, but it's also going to give you a red flag if you are spending way too much money beyond what you had planned. Number 5, do a no spend challenge. This is always a great one. So maybe you just say, hey, for the month, I'm only spending on necessities, food, shelter, utilities, transportation. So we're going to take a break from subscriptions and streaming services, unnecessary trips to Target, all of these things that are happening. We are going to set those aside and not mindlessly scroll Amazon. We are only going to buy what we need. And that actually kind of may reset your spending, which is great. Number 6, no eating out. Well, okay, listen, eating out, it will always cost more than cooking at home. So if you need to pull back your spending and save some money, this is the best tip I can give you. Don't go out to eat. Challenge yourself to cook at home for a season. I'm telling you, it will save you money. Number 7 is to plan your meals. So be very intentional with your food when you are cooking at home and knowing what you're going to cook. Because usually if you don't have a plan and you get to the end of the day, it's just like, let's just go grab something. It's easier. So make sure you have a plan. If you need a tool, you can check out my grocery savings guide. I can put a link down below, but meal planning is going to help you not overspend. Number 8, the envelope system is great. So when you actually spend with cash, old school cash, you actually end up spending less. And so we've seen this disappear in our culture, cash, because so much spending is online and all of it. I get it. But listen, if you want to reset your spending habits, pick a different category or 2 every single month and cash out those categories and only spend in cash. So much of our money is in our control, but one thing that can slip through the cracks if you're not careful is protecting your personal and financial information online. And that is why I love Delete Me. If you don't remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard with your name and your address, email, even your kids' names are out there on sketchy data broker websites. And then they take your data and they sell them to other sites. And then that puts you at risk for scams and fraud. So the good news is that Delete Me goes in and removes your information and helping protect you from harassment, even other online threats and scams and spams, all of it. Winston and I use Delete Me, and it saves us a ton of time and worry. You guys, your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9 a month, or click the link down in the description. All right, back to our list. Number 9, get debt out of your life. So this is going to help you not overspend, because when you actually spend with money you have, you will spend less. So getting rid of credit cards, saying, hey, I'm even going to, like, when it comes to my car, if you have a massive car loan, maybe you sell your car. You do things where you can put money back in your pocket, not just from a payment standpoint, but also the actual means of spending. You will spend less when it's not on a credit card. It is your own money. Number 10, rethink retail therapy. So instead of just blowing off steam by scrolling online just to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to just buy some stuff, don't do that. Maybe instead go for a walk. Listen to your favorite podcast. Do a task around the house. So do something else productive with your time than scrolling and buying things that you don't need. Number 11 is say no to sales. So sales are great, but they also can tempt us to buy things because it feels like it's a great deal. So remember, just because it's a good deal does not mean it's a good deal for you. Number 12, shop with a list. When you actually have a plan for when you're shopping, and this could be groceries or think about back to school shopping. I mean, like anything that's out there, have an actual plan and write it down. And that way you stick to your list and you're not going off and buying things that you don't need. Number 13, limit social media. I'm telling you, so much spending happens because of social media. And listen, love a great influencer. I really do, with cute outfits and all of it, because it's sometimes where I buy my clothes. But also, if we scroll and we keep seeing new things that we didn't know existed because they're showing us, it's like, I want to buy that. And it's not their fault. It's our fault because we're the ones spending our money. So take a break from social media, and I promise you will save some money that way. Number 14, pause before you spend. I'm telling you, don't just hit that add to cart button or buy now. Like, just wait. Just wait. Like, wait a few hours. It's still going to be there. Walk away and then come back to your phone. And even the best is the 24-hour rule. Wait 24 hours, because it's amazing how much our adrenaline pumps up when we want to buy something. And then when you don't buy it and you walk away, let all that settle, and you come back and you're like, did I really need it? Probably not. So it's just a great filter to use. Number 15, use what you actually have. So instead of going and buying something new, go and look at, like, your junk drawer that everyone has, or your bathroom drawer that's full of stuff, or like things in your laundry room shelves, like things that are just like piled away. Take everything out and actually see what it is, because you may realize, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that I have another bottle of Windex. I don't have to go buy another one. That always happens to me with cleaning stuff. It's like you buy things and they get tucked away in some random place and you forget about them. So get everything out and see what you have and use that before you go and buy. And number 16, create accountability for yourself. So if you do tend to overspend a lot, talk to someone, like talk to a friend or your spouse or a mentor, like someone in your life that you're like, oh yes, they are good with money. Or maybe I can just like run it by them if I want to buy something, just to have another brain, if you will, in the purchasing system, because having someone else kind of think with you is really, really helpful. But let's face it, sometimes cutting expenses just isn't enough to make some extra cash that you may need for a season. So to learn the easiest way, make sure to check out my episode at 7 Creative Side Hustles for an extra $1,000 a month. You can click there, or if you're listening on podcasts, click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. One huge myth is that becoming wealthy just like takes care of all of life's problems and everything will disappear. And that's not true. Just try watching White Lotus for one episode and you will see it. That's not true. And again, we get in this idea, if I just had this amount of money, like, oh my gosh, everything would be okay and be fine. But listen, money is just a tool. It is not a magic wand. Can it help you in life? Yes, but it is a double-edged sword. So if we put too much faith in money and building wealth, that like somehow everything's gonna be great, that's not true. But also, it is there to help us in our lives. But what I have discovered is that there are 5 other tools that money cannot buy, but can help you build a wealthy life. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. So I say it all the time, but it's true. Money makes you more of what you already are. And so if you are stressed, angry, impulsive, insecure, all the things, that becomes magnified. And so working on yourself in this process and becoming a healthier version of you is so key as you continue to get your money in control and start building wealth. So in order to address some of these deeper issues as you work on your financial goals, here are 5 areas of your life that you may already be wealthy in. Number 1 is relational. So when it comes to relationships in life, you cannot buy them. You cannot earn them. They are a gift that I think life just gives you. So whether it's your family, your friends, your spouse, your neighbors, your church family, like anything about it, like that is such a gift. John Deloney always talks about just even if you have 3 good friends in your life, you are rare because there's so much loneliness. There is a life of isolation that people live relationally, and life is so much richer when you do it with people and you have people in your life to share it with. And it's like, give me friends and a great family and my kids and all of that all day long. Like that fills up my tank so much. And you can't buy that. You cannot buy that. So look at the relationships around you. And maybe even it's an encouragement that if you don't have that, like other people are searching for it too. So maybe there's someone out there waiting to be best friends with you. Number 2 is professional. So if you have a dependable way to earn money, that this is a gift. Like if you have a job that pays you money, what a gift. But also above that, if you enjoy what you do, that's a wealthy life right there. Like when you go to work and you don't absolutely hate it. So I'm going to say fight for that, you guys. You spend so much time working. If you are working, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours a week, you want to enjoy it. We spend so much time at work. So again, finding this way, and I love Ken Coleman. He used to talk about this so much, but it's true. Like where you're passionate and where you're good, when that intersects and you're with people in an environment that is fun and enjoyable and encouraging, uplifting, that is a wealthy life. Like what a gift that is. Another underrated way that you can experience stability and security is by keeping your personal information protected. Because if you don't remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard. It's your name and address. Even your kids' names are out there on sketchy data broker websites, and data brokers then collect your data and sell it. And so you are at risk for scams and fraud and harassment and phishing. But here's the good news. Delete Me goes in and removes your information so you're not at risk for phishing and harassment and other online threats. Winston and I use Delete Me, and it saves us so much time and worry. So make sure your family's safety and financial security, they are so important, so do not leave it exposed. Go sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly costs to under $9, or just click the link in the description. All right, another way that you can look at your life and say, yes, I am very wealthy, is with your health. I mean, I'm telling you, the minute your sinuses get stopped up and you tweak your neck though from sleeping wrong, it's like, oh my God, I just want to be healthy again, right? We take it for granted so often. You get one little ailment and it's like, oh, I just want to be healthy again. And so it is man, what a gift our health is, right? And it is an investment. It doesn't necessarily cost money. Yes, you can take a walk, watch a sunset, drink a cup of coffee or tea, slow your life down. You can do all those things for free, basically, right? But you can invest, right? You can work out, join a gym, do these things to create health within your life. Absolutely. But also there's a point that we can't buy it though. You talk to someone that runs a marathon and they get diagnosed with cancer. There's a truth to the idea that we can't control it all. We can put great things in place to help us become healthier, but overall, our health in general, it is such a gift, and it is a part of being wealthy in life, because that is a sense, again, that you cannot buy. You cannot buy that part of your life. Number 4 is spiritual. So while you're on your way to financial peace by being smart with your money, I would say too that, having something bigger in your life is so huge, you guys. And from a spiritual perspective, again, having something that is beyond you, I think is so, so key. We can get so tied up with ourselves, but there's something to actually zoom out and say, yeah, there is something greater. And it doesn't mean that when you create a spiritual life and you start to pursue that things are going to get easier all of a sudden. That's not the promise. But there is something to say, I'm going to live beyond myself. For me, it is Jesus. And it's like, yeah, what is beyond me? And what is an example that I can follow that is not Rachel in America in 2025, like something so much greater that can offer so much more that you can't buy. You can't buy it. It is there though. It is offered to you. You can't buy it. So that is a part for me in my life that creates this wealth. And so when I look at it, spirituality is definitely one of those for me. Number 5, I'm going to say generosity, because it can look a lot of different ways, but I'm talking more about the spirit of generosity. Like when you can't buy someone who is kind. And it's amazing. People who are kind in life are usually some of the most generous people, and not always just with their money, but with their time, with their conversations, like all of it. Like there is something so beautiful about living a life that is full when you are generous and when it's not all about you, but you go and you serve other people. Like that creates a wealth in your life that you cannot buy. Now, we can use money and be generous, and we talk about this a lot, and I think that it is so important. I think that it should be part of your financial journey. But it's just really beautiful when you can do that, but you can also give not just your money, but you're giving these other parts of yourself too to people, because that creates a well-rounded, beautiful life. But trust me, there are a ton of more underrated signs of wealth out there. So be sure to check out 8 subtle ways to spot a quiet millionaire coming up next. You can click there, or I'll put a link down in the description if you're listening on podcast. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, hey, you guys. So according to a 2023 Harris poll for Bloomberg, around 45% of Americans ages 18 to 29 live with their parents. And here's a little fun fact. This percentage was actually about the same as it was in the 1940s. But the reason behind this decision obviously has changed. But today I want to share my thoughts on all sides of this conversation and kind of give you some signs that it might be time to take the next step if you are someone living at home with your parents. Now, before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. So first, here are a few reasons why people are making the decision to keep living with their parents. Some of it is really good motivation. People are like, well, I want to save money. I want to pay off debt. Things are just so expensive that I can, again, lower my cost of living by living with my parents, and I can save and pay off debt, right? So there is a lot of good motivation to this. And I'm all for, to a degree, that idea of saying, hey, how can I cut my expenses? What can I do? But also, we want to make sure that you as a whole person are thriving in life. So while some of that motivation is good, it can have its downside. But people, again, have so many heated opinions on this. But this also can be very nuanced, because there are times that it is you're in a dire situation and your family is a gift in that are able to help you out. I've talked to people and, they've lost a spouse and they moved back in with their parents for a season. I was talking to a guy and he was a truck driver and he literally was home 2 weekends a month and that was it. And he was like, I just spend the night with my parents on those 2 nights. And I'm like, yeah, that totally makes sense. I have another friend and her husband's in the military and he's going to be deployed for 9 months. And so she's going to go and live with her parents during that time for her mom to help with the kids and all of it, right? So there are nuanced situations that it does really make sense. And again, for a season, I think that this can be an okay decision for you to make. But for the long term, in most situations, it ends up not being great. I always think about that rom-com Failure to Launch with Sarah Jessica Parker and Matthew McConaughey. And it's like, oh yeah, you can really see it. It can definitely slow down your personal growth and development in so many ways. And there's something to be said about when you get home and you're like, oh yeah, do I have milk and bread and the basics of life? Are the lights being paid, the bill? There's just things as an adult you have to think through. And when your parents are kind of that safety net to a degree for a long period of time, it's naturally going to stunt a level of your growth. Because I think when you have to go out and do new things, and it is a little scary, maybe you kind of are taking a risk, there's something in that builds character, it builds confidence. And so much of that confidence and taking care of yourself really is one of these keys of success in life and to your money. So here are 5 steps to take to get you ready to move out on your own. Number 1, set a move out date. So if your living situation just stays stagnant, you'll probably never see the end of it. Because having mom and dad take care of you and You may not have to really pay rent or anything. It does sound good, right? But again, it is good for you to be out on your own. So that deadline really keeps you accountable, and it's good communication for you and your parents as well. So have that date out there. And again, this could be 60 days, this could be 6 months, but have a date. Number 2, make sure you can budget for your 4 walls. So you may have to compromise in your life because your starter situation when you move out on your own probably isn't going to be perfect. It may not be ideal, but again, it's your first one, and that's okay. And so what you want to look at are those 4 walls again: food, shelter, utilities, and transportation, making sure that you can cover those 4 walls. Again, it may not be in an area that your parents live in. It may be in an area that you're like, golly, I got to drive an extra, 30 minutes, but this is what I can afford, but making sure those are covered. Now, if you've not checked out our EveryDollar app, this is a free budgeting app. And so open that up, get an account, start that, because this is going to help you take your income and really put it to its best use. Which brings me to number 3 is to have a consistent income. Yeah, you need a job to live out on your own. And so this may be you've put together a couple of side hustles and that works for you. Maybe you're freelancing. Maybe you got a 40-hour-a-week job. Like whatever it is, having that consistent income is really, really key. Number 4 is to reevaluate. Again, if you're living at home to hit a certain financial goal, ask yourself if you're actually making progress. Because if you've kind of hit this plateau and maybe you've picked up some extra work, but you're using that extra money to go on vacation or hang out with friends or whatever it is, you're not really putting as much towards these goals than you think you would. Maybe reevaluate. And maybe you say, hey, I wanted to be here till I was debt-free, but maybe I move out sooner and I push that debt-free date out a couple of months. But it's worth it because I'm an adult and I'm 26 years old and I'm going to be out on my own. And number 5 is to think big picture. Again, like I said, failure to launch is very real, and you don't know what you don't know until you try. And moving out, you may face, some difficulties at times, but this builds such confidence because you have to problem solve on your own. And long term, this is so good for you. Now, again, I know this topic is very nuanced because neither opinion of like, you should never move back home or always move back home, neither is inherently wrong. But again, over time, who is it turning you into? And I think that's what's really key, because you have to know that the decisions you're making in your life and your lifestyle are determining who you are as a person. And I just have this belief that when you're out on your own, eventually it just builds something in you that is so, so good. And again, like I said earlier, if you need help when it comes to budgeting, make sure to check out EveryDollar. And for a step-by-step rundown on how to use it, make sure to check out my episode on the right way to do a monthly budget. So make sure to share this episode with a friend who might be in this situation, might need a little, pushing out of the nest. Some good motivation. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. All right, spoiler alert. Your ego is probably not going to like this episode, but we're going to get real because it's good for all of us. So we're going to break down what America's #1 wealth killer is actually costing you. And to keep things interesting, at the end, I'll share my one exception to avoiding this wealth killer. So stay tuned. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. So there's a lot of conflicting financial opinions out there, but I really do believe the #1 wealth killer is something that almost all of us can agree on when it comes to financial experts, and that is car loans. So there are plenty of other countries around the world where they use cars for utility, like it gets them to point A to point B, right? But for us, it's become part of our identity to the point that it's like we will go into debt and financially we will not make smart decisions because of our car. So listen, I get it. Our cars, they say a lot about us. And I remember, being like, I'll never drive a minivan because I just felt like they're ugly. And that just says like, I'm not cool anymore. And like, no, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be that mom. And what happened? Set my ego and pride aside. And I've been driving a minivan for 5 years. So again, I don't love it. Like, it's not like this is like my dream car ever. Like it's very functional. I do love it. I don't like how it looks, but I love it. So I get it. I get that like it becomes your identity a little bit, but we want to get over that because again, I would take a paid off car all day over a car with a lot of debt that looks great. So let's talk about why this is the #1 wealth killer. So number 1 is that immediate money is lost. When you buy a brand new car, okay, the moment you drive it off the parking lot of that dealership, it loses 9% of its value. It is the most expensive purchase that we make that goes down in value. And research shows that new cars lose the most value within the first year of ownership, which means your car is worth about 20% less than what you paid for it 12 months earlier. And that's for a brand new car. So again, when you buy a car, you're basically buying a depreciating asset. I am against using debt of any kind when it comes to your financial life, but especially with this one, because again, you are borrowing money and then paying interest on top of that for something that's going down in value. Again, something, if we can remind ourselves, that's supposed to just get us from point A to point B. It wasn't supposed to be all about our identity and who we are, and if we're successful, if we're not, if we look cool, if we don't. No, it was supposed to literally drive us to where we need to go. And now we are going into debt and paying car loans every month with high interest, and it's just insane, absolutely insane. Number 2, it's an embarrassing way to waste your money. Because again, like we were just saying, it is just a car. It's a car, you guys. I mean, in Europe, people are walking around, they're taking trains, they're driving tiny cars. I mean, they're doing all of this. But here, for some reason in America, it has become something of the status symbol. And I would say around the world, maybe that is true. But again, do not make a bad financial decision by going into debt for something that is supposed to get you from point A to point B. So remember that. Another embarrassing and potentially dangerous way to lose your money and your ownership of your personal info is by not protecting your data from online scammers, which is why I love and use Delete Me. So if you don't remove your personal data from the internet, it's basically like a billboard with your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names, and they're out there on sketchy data broker websites. And those data brokers collect your data and then sell it to other companies and puts you at risk for scams and fraud. But the great news is that Delete Me goes in and will remove your data to help protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Winston and I, we use Delete Me. We love it, and it saves us so much time and worry. So you guys, your family's safety and financial security, they're way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9. So click the link down in the description to check out Delete Me. All right, number 3 is opportunity cost. So today, the average monthly payment on a new car is somewhere around $734. So that is a lot of money to be going out every single month. So instead, let's say you bought a used car, for a couple $1,000 that you saved up. And instead of paying $734 to the car dealership or to the bank, let's say you actually took that and you invested that. And let's say you did that from age 39 to age 65. And over the course of those years, with compound interest, you will have just over $1 million. Isn't that crazy? If you paid yourself a car payment versus the bank, you would keep all that money. And when it's invested, it is growing, and compound interest does its beautiful work. So it's incredible what can happen. So the opportunity cost of a car loan is so, so real. I will leave a link to Ramsey's investment calculator so you can plug in your own numbers and see for yourself. I'll put that down below. All right, number 4, the right way. So if you currently have a car loan and you do want to pivot, here's what I would recommend. So I would look and see, okay, can you pay this car off completely in about 18-ish months? If it's going to take you longer than that, sell the car. It's too expensive. And if you're underwater on it, so let's say you have a $34,000 car loan, but you can only sell it for $30,000, then go take a small loan of $6,000 to $7,000, buy a really crappy car with some of that, pay off the rest, sell it, get rid of it. I would rather have a $7,000 loan than a $34,000 loan, right? So you can do it even if you're underwater. Look at your options because, again, most of the time it is dragging you down. And what that payment could do then, if you kept that money instead of sending it to the bank, how faster you could get out of other debt that you're potentially in. So selling the car is usually the answer for a lot of people. Now, if you never want to have a car loan again, make sure to check out Ramsey's Car Guide. And it's everything from buying and selling to car maintenance, all of it. I'll put a link down for you to check out. Now let's talk about the one exception I have to the no buying new cars rule. When we talk about it goes down in value so much. We always say if you have a net worth of $1 million, then you can afford to take the hit financially. There's almost like this idea of, could you see a pile of money in the middle of the room, light it on fire, And does that affect you? Right? And for a lot of people, as they're getting out of debt, they're trying to save money. Yes, that would affect them. They want that money that's right in the center of the room. Instead of burning it, I need it. But when you hit around that millionaire status, then you have enough bandwidth, you have enough margin in your money that if you take the 9% loss or the 20% loss in the first year, financially, dollar to dollar, usually is not going to affect you as much. So once you hit that net worth millionaire status, that is when you can buy a brand new car. So wasting money on car loans, again, it's kind of just like this classic middle class habit that a lot of people have, and get rid of it. Stop. Don't do that. Pay yourself that money versus the bank, again, on a depreciating asset. So if you want more info when it comes to the new middle class, make sure to check out my episode of 10 things quickly becoming too expensive for the middle class. You can click here, or if you're listening on podcast, I'll put a link below. All right, you guys, remember, take control of your money and create a life you love.